In 1899, Dr. Alexander Hartdegen was an inventor teaching at Columbia University in New York. Tonight, Alex had a date with his fiancée, Emma. David, his friend, reminded Alex of this, prompting him to get ready to meet her. Alex was in a hurry to finish his work so he could leave. Before meeting Emma, Alex stopped at the flower shop to buy a flower. He noticed a steam car in front of him and was curious, as there weren't many steam cars in those days. Suddenly, the steam engine moved independently and Alex reflexively pulled the brake. The owner thanked Alex for stopping the vehicle because he often forgets to pull the brake. Then the man walked away with the steam engine. Alex hurried to meet his girlfriend and eventually found her at the skating rink. Emma asked about the flowers he had promised her, but Alex had forgotten to buy them because he had been distracted by a steam engine. Despite his original plan to propose, they went to a park instead because of the crowds. There, Alex proposed to Emma. After giving the ring to Emma, a mugger arrived and demanded all of Alex's valuables, including the ring. Alex refused, but the thief forced him to do so. In the struggle, a gun went off and Emma was accidentally shot, dying instantly. Years later, Alex devotes himself by work until David reminded him of the importance of the people around him. David explained that Emma's death was not Alex's fault and that everything had already happened. Despite David's advice, Alex blamed himself for what happened to Emma. Alex even claimed that he could change fate. As tensions rose, David decided to leave. It was later revealed that Alex had built a time machine that will allow him to travel back in time to save Emma. Alex intended to return to the time when Emma was alive. After completing the machine in 1903, he traveled back to 1899. He dressed neatly, carried a watch, and entered the time machine. Alex successfully returned to when Emma was alive and was overjoyed to see her again. Emma took Alex to the park, but he knew there were robbers, so he invited her to another place. Once in town, Alex and Emma walked around chatting. Alex noticed the steam engine he encountered earlier parked in front of him. He spoke to Emma and asked her to say goodbye as he had to leave. Alex promised to see Emma in a few days. Just before they parted, Emma asked for a flower. Luckily, they were standing outside a flower shop. Alex quickly went inside to buy a flower. Inside the shop, they saw the steam engine move by itself and collide with the horse-drawn carriage in front of it, hitting Emma and eventually killing her. It was later discovered that the steam engine owner had once again forgotten to apply the brakes. At the hospital, Alex met David and asked him why he couldn't change Emma's fate. Alex still couldn't accept what had happened and continued to search for answers. Despite his repeated returns, Emma died differently. Alex realized that any attempt to save Emma would result in her death through other circumstances. Alex traveled to 2030 to discover further science has discovered how to change the past. He traveled through time, witnessing his surroundings change rapidly, discovering that he was heading to a future where everything had become more sophisticated. His house was now an empty lot, and the people around him had also changed significantly, making Alex feel outdated. He then entered New York Public Library where a digital assistant greeted him. Alex was curious about the people in the glass who turned out to be part of the Vox system, a digital library that stores all the world's knowledge. Alex asked a physics question, mentioning terms related to time travel. Vox insisted time travel to the past was impossible and had never happened. Alex then asked about fate and why the past cannot be changed. Vox logically replied that there was no going back in time. Alex climbed back into the time machine and traveled to the distant future. He arrived to find a world in chaos. Suddenly, he was captured by soldiers in army uniforms who demanded to know what had happened to Earth. The soldier explained that the colony on the moon had detonated an explosive device, disrupting the moon's orbit and leading to its imminent destruction. When an explosion occurred, Alex quickly climbed into the time machine and activated it. He hit his head in the explosion and lost consciousness. Once activated, the time machine traveled to the future. As Alex remained unconscious, the time machine continued to travel into the distant future, revealing the changing times and Earth. Eventually, Alex regained consciousness and promptly switched off the time machine, which displayed 800,000 years, indicating his arrival in the distant future. The Earth had healed, and the human race had reverted to a primitive lifestyle. Some survivors, called Eloi, lived on the sides of cliffs of what was once Manhattan. The next day, Alex woke up in a house, having been helped by someone. When he stepped outside, he saw houses perched precariously on the cliff in a primitive civilization. A man approached him and greeted him in a language he did not understand. However, a woman named Mara, helping Alex, spoke to him in English, explaining that it was a stone or ancient language. Alex was asked where he was from by Mara's younger brother Colin. Alex replied that he was from the distant past, having used a time machine. Mara introduced Alex as a sheltered adventurer, confused because he had hit his head. They chatted for a while, and Alex left his watch with Kalin before going upstairs with Mara. Alex and Mara sat in the moonlight, getting to know each other and admiring the half-destroyed moon. He observed the broken moon and realized that maybe his teachings led to this future. One night, Alex woke from a nightmare and heard Kaylin screaming, shouting the word Morlock. In his dream, a jagged toothed face was calling his name. The next day, Alex and Mara visited a ruined building from their era, and Alex realized that the ruins belonged to human civilization. Mara learned the language of stone from the writing on the ruins, and asked Alex why he was traveling through time, and he said he was looking for answers. Mara guessed that he was looking for answers because he had lost someone. Alex then asked why there were no older adults in their village, but Mara was reluctant to tell him, and when they reached the mainland, they encountered Kaylin. Alex wanted to inspect his time machine and found the engine was in regular working order. Suddenly, Mara urged Alex to leave with his time machine, and Kaylin, seemingly afraid of something. As if on cue, a trumpet-like sound echoed, and Mara ran towards her brother. The villagers were being attacked by ape-like known as Morlocks. The Morlocks captured humans on the hunt with poisoned arrows from their mouths. They targeted specific individuals and even captured women. A Morlock was catching Kaylin, and Alex tried to help but was chased by one. Kaylin quickly arrived with a torch and saved Alex. Soon after, the hunt ended with the sound of trumpets. Alex noticed that the Morlocks had also captured Mara. He looked around at the people, wondering why none of them had fought back. They had no choice but to surrender. Alex then approached Kaylin and asked him to reveal the location of the Morlocks' headquarters to help his sister. Kaylin did not know where the Morlocks were, but he did tell Alex where the ghosts were. Kaylin led Alex to the library that Alex had visited earlier. The digital assistant system greeted Alex, and Vox was asked to update him on the current state of the world. Vox explained that the world was now made up of two races, one living on the surface and the other underground, which had evolved. Alex asked how Vox had managed to get information about the Morlocks without ever leaving the area. Vox revealed that a former resident had deliberately left and told him about the Morlocks. When Alex asked about the location of the Morlocks, Vox replied that they came from the eastern part of the forest. After learning from Vox how to find the Morlocks, Alex entered their underground lair through an opening that resembles the face in his nightmare. Kaylin was told to go home and ask the villagers for help. He mentioned that he had lost Alex's watch and that the Morlocks had taken it. Alex then entered the cave to find Mara. Meanwhile, Alex fell into the river below due to shock and lack of caution in the slaughter room. The Morlocks captured Alex and took him to an underground room where he met Mara, who was also imprisoned. Mara seemed to see something in front of her, and it turned out to be the leader of the Morlocks. The Uber Morlock told Alex to come closer, and that their current situation would be different if the moon had not broken, making the Earth uninhabitable for most species. The Uber Morlock explained that their survival depended on breeding and controlling their prey. He also admitted that the Morlocks were far less advanced in thought and knowledge than the villagers. It turned out that the villagers were just part of the Morlock food chain, being bred and hunted, and some were even used as breeding grounds if they were suitable. The Uber Morlock could control the minds of his people. If left unchecked, they would become more aggressive and quickly deplete the food supply of the captured humans. Alex informed the Morlock leader that his actions had violated the laws of nature. The Uber Morlock replied, "And what about you, who traveled through time to change fate?" The Uber Morlock also could see the contents of a person's mind and memories. Alex was briefly shown a false memory in which he lived happily with Emma and had a family. This made him realize that no one could predict their fate or destiny. He felt like the Morlock boss who had become that way due to Alex's time travel. The Uber Morlock explained that Alexander could not alter Emma's fate. Her death was what drove him to build the time machine in the first place. Therefore, saving her would be an impossibility due to temporal paradox. Suddenly, Alex's time machine appeared, and the Morlock boss told him to go home because he had found the answers he was looking for. Alex got into the time machine and asked the Uber Morlock to give him back his watch. He pulled the Uber Morlock's hand and deliberately turned on the time machine. They fought as the time machine traveled into the future. Alex managed to knock the Uber Morlock out of the time machine's orbit. Arriving in the future, Alex discovered that the Morlock nation had rapidly developed and taken control of Earth. Returning to the previous time, Alex rescued Mara just in time to hear the Morlocks approaching. They both fled as the Morlocks pursued them. Quickly, Alex activated the time machine and reversed its effect on the outside world, causing it to explode by slipping the clock to chase the machine. The time machine exploded, causing the Morlocks to disappear. Alex was almost hit by the explosion, but was immediately helped by Mara. They all left the area, and the effects of the explosion spread through the corridors of the Morlock cave. Mara apologized to Alex, saying that his time machine had been destroyed. Alex replied, "Let it be just a machine." The next day, Vox was moved so the villagers could learn about the past. Alex, Mara, and Kaylin went to Alex's former home. In 1903, David was talking to Alex's housekeeper to discuss his absence in his laboratory. According to David, Alex has found a place that makes him happy, even though it is 800,000 years in the future, and he would like to hire her as a housekeeper. She accepted until Alex returns. She bided Alexander farewell, and David left, looking toward the laboratory affectionately, then proudly throws his bowler hat away in tribute to Alex's objection to blind conformity. So, what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you in the next video.